Welcome back to the Wicked Game Podcast, and it is 1,000,000 degrees here in the UK today. I am struggling. I'm lying on bed. I've got the windows open, so apologies if you can hear background noise. And I'm going to struggle today. I'm not going to lie. I've been struggling for the past week here in the UK. It's so hot. Unlike, our friends in America and over on the continent, we don't have air conditioning as a standard here in the UK, and so when it's hot, it gets hot, and our houses are built to contain heat. So, as I say, I'm struggling a little bit today. If you are too, if you're in the UK right now and you're struggling, let me know what you're doing to cope with this heat, because it's basically unbearable. I can't sleep at the moment. It's so difficult when you're trying to work from home as well in this heat. But nevertheless, we persevere. A lot has happened over the past few weeks. We've got a lot to talk about in today's podcast, but I'm just kind of going to freestyle it today. I don't really have any notes. I just really wanted to hit record and start talking about my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, of course, about Mario Kart. We've had a Sony State of Play, PlayStation State of Play. We've had an Xbox showcase. We've had Summer Games Fest, and a few other announcements over the past week as well, which would be really good to have a chat about. So without a further ado, let's get cracking. The first thing I wanted to talk about, just to get it out of the way with, is the Nintendo Switch 2 and my first impressions of it. So we're 2 weeks into the launch of this console now, and I'm having a great time with it. So I just kind of want to freestyle some thoughts about this new device. I've got it in front of me right now, and so obviously it's a little bit bigger than the original Switch model. The look of it, it's got this beautiful matte black finish to it, so it makes it look a lot more premium, a lot more adult than the childish original Switch system. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but one of my favourite features is the new and improved kickstand. It's so much more sturdy than the original Switch 1 model. I can actually prop it up in bed and then take off the Joy-Cons and play it that way and use it as a screen. I couldn't really do it. Well, you couldn't do that before with the original Switch model because it just was not sturdy enough. So it's great that I'm able to do that with this model, and I'm really enjoying using that. I hear some people as well have been able to use the kickstand to hook the device onto things as well, like the back of car seats and the trays on airplanes. So that's pretty cool. So that's a new feature that I think is a little bit underrated. I know it's such a small one, but I really do like that change to it. The screen itself is absolutely beautiful. I know a lot of people were disappointed that this wasn't going to be an OLED, but this is the best LCD screen I've ever seen. The colours are so bright. You can even play this device outside as well if you're sitting in the shade. So it's so bright, and it's got such a good resolution that it's almost like an OLED in some respects. The feel of the buttons is so nice. It feels a lot more, as I say, premium than the previous one. It's got a nice feel to it. It sounds nice when you click it. The Joy-Cons. So the magnetic Joy-Cons are pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It is quite fun to pull them out and put them back in. A lot less clunky than the Switch 1, but there still is quite a lot of clunkiness still there. If you watched my unboxing of the Nintendo Switch 2 on the YouTube Shorts channel for this podcast, you'll have seen that when I first put together the device, I actually struggled to get the Joy-Cons in. It's not as easy as just you hover them around the edge of the screen and the magnets suck them in. You do have to line them up precisely, and so they are a little bit clunky. And also, I don't think anybody noticed this until they were in everybody's hands, but there is a slight gap in between the Joy-Con and the screen as well. So they're not entirely flush, I think is the term that I need to use here. You can kind of see the bluey turquoise on the left in between the Joy-Con and the screen, and then likewise on the right with the salmon red orange color as well. And because of that, there is a little bit of give to them when you kind of pull on the Joy-Cons a little bit and bend the console a little bit. There is a little bit of give there, and it wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing very soon devices breaking, and so that is a little bit of a disappointment and a little bit of worry as well. And I know as well, I've seen on Reddit quite a few times people buying these third-party what's the word I'm looking for? Third-party cases for them, and it does something to the magnets, and it makes them less secure, less sturdy, and they seem to be falling off. The Joy-Con seem to be falling off a lot more, which is a little bit disappointing. But yeah, still pretty cool. I still like it. I still prefer it to the rails of the old Switch one, because that really was just so clunky. It never really felt very premium, whereas this is a little bit more premium. I really like that there is a USB-C port on the top of the screen, so then it's better to play it and to charge it at the same time by doing that. And then also, of course, you can add in the camera at the top. I've not experimented with the camera as of yet. If you would like to play some Mario Kart and chat with me on game chat and use the camera function, then please do let me know if you're over the age of 18, that is, and I'll leave my friend code down in the description and in the comments for this podcast as well. So I can't really give a review on the camera so far, although it does seem quite sturdy. It was quite heavier than I was expecting, and it had a privacy shutter, which is really welcome. In terms of game chat, whilst we're on it, as I say, I've not really experimented much with that so far. Hopefully I will do in the future. I don't know why they didn't just release this with Mario Party Jamboree, because there isn't really much you can do with the camera function so far. To me, it would have made more sense that they actually just brought that forward. I think that's coming out in July. It would have made more sense if they had just brought that forward to June, released it on launch day, but then I suppose it would have distracted away from Mario Kart maybe, and they really wanted Mario Kart to sell well, and it is selling well. Anyway, I digress. Back to the console. What else do I love about it? The game card slots. Now, I mean, firstly, I just noticed that it actually has the word game card written on it, and this entire time, for God knows how many years, I've been referring to them as carts with a T as in cartridge. But according to the writing that's on the port, it's game card with a D. So there you go, learn something new every day. Anyway, the game card port, it's really weird, this one. I don't know if you've heard people talking about it if you don't have a Switch, but it's kind of like you pull it out and it's bendy. It's like got a rubber sort of thing attached to attach it to, which I don't love, and I feel like that is going to be a point of failure for a lot of people. Kids are going to definitely pull that off, and you're going to have a lot of Switches on Switch 2s on eBay going forward where that is missing. I can guarantee it. Right, I think that's everything to do with the physical nature of the device. Of course, there's also the dock, which, just like the Switch 1 dock, it does feel a little bit flimsy, but to be honest, I very rarely will play Switch on a screen. I'm definitely more of a handheld guy when it comes to the Switch. So let's get into the software side of things. So the UI, I mean, it's basic. It's basically the same. It's the same as the Switch 1, which does make it feel very much like this is an iteration, as we all knew that anyway, an iteration rather than, a revolution to the console. But nevertheless, it's not broken, so don't fix that. I would like there to be some sort of more character to the UI in the future, but I actually don't think that's going to happen. The eShop. We all know that the eShop on the Switch 1 was absolutely awful. It was a clunky, slow, jarry, buggy mess, and nobody liked using it. Well, I'm pleased to say that has been overhauled for the Switch 2. It's a lot faster. There's a For You page now, which is great. So every Saturday, it gives you a list of games that it recommends, or Nintendo recommends that you play based on what you have been playing. So that is really cool. I really like that. One of the things I don't like about the eShop is that Nintendo still haven't introduced a feature really to filter out the adult content or the I'm not going to use the H word, but you know what I mean. That is just littered on there, and that is still easily accessible for everybody, including kids, which I really don't like. So I wish Nintendo had fixed that. There's been a problem with the battery as well on these systems. Everybody's been moaning, myself included, that the battery life is really bad. It seems to decrease after just like an hour or two of gameplay. Apparently there is a bug though with these early Switches, these early Switch 2s, in that the symbol, what it's telling you is available on your battery, is not accurate. And there is a way so you can essentially reset the battery and then the symbol is accurate. But apparently, yeah, you've got a lot more charge in it than it actually says, which is interesting. And I hope that just gets automatically fixed in an update by Nintendo in the future, because I really don't want to have to mess around with, potentially refreshing and restarting my device. I don't really want to play around with that. So far, I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, here's essentially a Switch 1, but better. I'm really looking forward to more games being released on it. So far, I have dabbled a little bit in Cyberpunk, but I've not really done much more than like the opening tutorials just to play around with it. It does look fantastic. It plays really well as well. It's a miracle that they've got this to work on this device, but not just to work on this device. This is the way that CD Projekt Red want you to play Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch 2. It's properly optimized for it, and I think it just goes to show that no matter what game you put on this device, it's not going to run well unless you properly optimize it, and CD Projekt Red have done that for Cyberpunk 2077, or so far, as from what I've experienced. So I'm looking forward to properly playing this. As I say, I've only dabbled for a couple of hours, basically just the tutorial bits. So I'm looking forward to properly throwing myself into that. However, of course, I've mostly been playing Mario Kart World, and this game's had a lot of discussion about it over the past few weeks, hasn't it? The past couple of weeks, because it's an amazing game. It's so fun. It's fantastic. I'm going to get dozens and dozens and dozens of hours out of this game. However, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed. So let's get into it. So Mario Kart World is essentially, for the most part, a traditional Mario Kart where you have the Grand Prix and then you have the online modes as well. But there's also this open world feature to this game. The open world feature, or the free roam feature of this game, is mostly separate from everything else. In my head, and maybe I was just being an idiot and I completely misread all of the marketing on Mario Kart World, even after they did a hell of a lot of marketing on it. In my head, what you would do is essentially like in Forza Horizon, where you go about the open world and then you can get into races almost seemingly organically. And you essentially, your home base is essentially the open world, and you're constantly in that open world. And even if you're doing the Grand Prix, you are racing on a course, and then you're racing from that course along the open world to another course, and then racing there as well. That's not what it is at all. The Grand Prix is completely separate to the open roam aspects of this game. And essentially, the open world aspect is essentially a sandbox where you can't really do anything in it apart from a few little tasks. There's these P buttons that you, of course, drive over, and then they give you a little task to do, like collect all these coins within the space of like 20 seconds or something like that. There's no real way to track how many of these little tasks there are to do in a certain area, so it's very difficult to feel like you are making progress in this. The open world is cool as a concept. It looks great. Some of the NPCs there, some of the toads are cool, and they're in the cars and they have cool animations, and you can cause traffic jams, and that is cool. But there's really not a lot to do. Imagine if I was a kid, I would probably spend hours and hours in this just messing about. I'm sure in years to come, you're going to get a lot of people feeling very nostalgic about this game. Kids, once they grow up, because they spend hours and hours just playing around in the open world, not really doing anything. But for somebody like me, who has a full-time job and a very busy life, I need something specific to do. and there isn't really anything specific to do. And it's not like you have the freedom of, say, something like Breath of the Wild, where you're not, limited to a car. You can climb anything. It's very awkward being trapped in the car and having this open world to explore. And there's just nothing really to explore. There's not really many mysteries. I really was expecting there to be something more, even if it wasn't what I just described, that like Forza Horizon, where you drive around and then organically get into races. But I did think there would be something else to this, something like a story mode or a proper collecting mode that you could actually track, or more interesting side quests and things to do. And there just isn't. And I just really hope that in the months to come we get free DLC and updates to this game where they add in stuff to do, because at the moment there's no reason for me to go into the free roam world. As I say, if I was a kid and I didn't have any responsibilities and it was the summer holidays, yeah, you could just mess around with it, to your heart's content. But there's no reason for me to go into it. Obviously, you are, well, not obviously, in the online modes, if you're trying to get into a race online, in between races, you are free to roam about in that open world, and there's the other online people in there in that same online world with you. However, there's nothing really for you to do and this is only for like a minute whilst you're waiting for the next race to appear. Speaking of the online mode, I better focus on that whilst we're on it right now. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with the online mode. It's very difficult though. There's I'm going to first talk about the knockout tour mode. So this is a new mode for this Mario Kart, and it's absolutely fantastic. So it's essentially a knockout competition where you start with 24 racers, and then I think you have to pass the checkpoint within the top 20, and then the top is it like 14, and then 10, then 8 and 4, etc., until you're number one. This is chaos. This is absolute chaos. When you've got 24 racers on the same track, all using all the different items that are being dropped, it is utter chaos. You can literally go from first place to dead last place within a second, and it's chaotic, and it's fantastic, and it's fun, and I'm loving it. The normal race world is also fun, obviously a little bit less chaotic. A lot of people have been moaning that it's difficult to, well, it's impossible to vote to select what course you want to do. It's based on where you are in the open world, where they've dropped you in the open world, and they give you 3 options as well as a random option. And it's not done by democracy, it's not done by voting, it's done by randomly selecting one of the 3 that you've all voted for, if that makes sense. So if 24 players have all selected different tracks each, then it will randomly pick one of those, which I don't like. I wish there was a way you could just, decide by democracy which track you were going to play. So that is a little bit frustrating as well. I've not done it myself yet, but I also hear that it's very difficult to meet up with your real life friends on the live version of Mario Kart World. And by that I mean, apparently you can't set up a room with all of your friends and then compete against other real life people. It will just set you up against computers, which again is very annoying. You'd think after all these years Nintendo would have worked out how to do this, but apparently that's not the case, and that's very disappointing. So what else is there to do with Mario Kart World? I think that's pretty much it. I think it is such a good game. I know I've moaned a lot about it, but it really is fun. I'm going to be spending hours and hours on this, and it's a great game to just pick up and just play if you've got a spare few minutes. What I want to see from this going forward is that I want to see some updates to the open world aspect of this game. I want to see some things that will make me want to actually jump into it and play the open roam sections rather than just ignoring it essentially. I know there's been a lot of discourse out there as well saying that this shouldn't have been the launch title, and I kind of agree with what Wood from Beat 'em Ups is saying, that this is like the ultimate and best launch game ever for a Nintendo console. I know it's not the best game ever. Breath of the Wild is so much better than as a game, but as a launch title, this is the best. this appeals to pretty much absolutely everybody, right? We all know that after Mario Kart 8 being one of the most best-selling games of all time, that a new Mario Kart would also sell like hotcakes, and this is proven to be correct. Most people that have bought a Switch 2 are playing Mario Kart on this. They aren't playing any of the other games. That's literally a drop in the ocean. It's basically everybody is playing Mario Kart. It is the ultimate game. Everybody can pick this up and play. It's going to be one of the best-selling games of all time, without a doubt. And I mean, there's just so much replayability to it as well. Imagine if Donkey Kong Bonanza had been the launch title. A lot of people would have finished that by now, right? And we're going to get on to Donkey Kong Bonanza. Just you wait. I've got a lot of thoughts on that. So yeah, so Mario Kart World, great launch title. I'm a little bit disappointed. I think I'm going to do a review on it at some point on the YouTube channel. Let's see. It's difficult to say anything new or refreshing about this. I feel like everybody has the same opinion. It's brilliant, it's fantastic. However, it's not perfect, and everybody's a little bit disappointed in a way. Oh well, but yeah, having a lot of fun with it. I think that's all the games I've been playing on the Nintendo Switch 2. Actually, I've dabbled a little bit in the new GameCube Nintendo Switch Online, and I played a little bit of Soul Calibur 2, which was a little bit fun, but nothing to write home about. I want to talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza now. So we had the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct this week, and I was a little bit apprehensive about it going into it, because I thought it's not going to show us much. It's going to be like the Mario Kart World Direct, which was just a bit of a letdown, was a bit disappointing. Whereas this actually showed us quite a lot and was actually quite interesting. I think we can all probably agree as a community that the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct was probably the best single game Direct we've had from Nintendo so far. But to be fair, that may be because the Mario Kart World one was just, they didn't have anything to show us. They'd already showed us basically everything. But anyway, so Donkey Kong Bonanza, I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm going to say this now. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to get nominated for Game of the Year. It looks like a cross between Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and what else? I was thinking about this the other day, and there was a third game. It feels like a cross between and Donkey Kong, obviously. So it just looks incredible. It just looks so fun, and having all these destructible environments is going to be so chaotic and so fun. And people are just going to play around this game for years to come. And I think there's going to be videos very similar to like the videos we saw on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where people could just do ridiculous things. I'm really looking forward to this. It's interesting that there's essentially a skill tree aspect to this as well, so that's going to be fun. I'm just gonna throw so many hours into this game. I can already imagine now. I'm not a huge Donkey Kong fan. I basically played it as a kid on the I think the Game Boy. I had the yellow one. I can't remember what it's called. Donkey Kong something, obviously. But yeah, it was super fun. I think we also had the original one on the NES as well, where you're Mario and you have to go up to the top and get the little hammer and rescue Pauline. But apart from that, in my adult life, I've never really dabbled much into Donkey Kong. It's always something that has been part of my childhood. So this is going to be the first Donkey Kong game I've played in a long time. So I am really looking forward to it, especially if there's sort of those dynamics to this that are similar to Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. Really looking forward to this. It's going to be great. As I say, I think this is going to be a Game of the Year nomination. I can feel it right now. In fact, whilst I'm on this, my predictions for Game of the Year nominations are Donkey Kong Bonanza, Expedition 33, obviously, and that probably should win it. I think we'll have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, maybe Death Stranding 2. Blueprints is kind of the indie title they'll probably put in for the main one. And how many nominations are there? Is it 6? Then maybe Ghost of Yote. The new Blood of the Dawnwalker game coming out looks pretty good, so maybe that. Anyway, we'll do another podcast on that with our predictions later on in the year. But that was a slight deviation from the topic. So Donkey Kong Bonanza, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great game. Going to get that on launch. And hopefully I'll be able to do some videos and a podcast on that as well. What else is happening this week in terms of Nintendo? We saw on the tube line on the I think it was at Oxford Street Station this week. Somebody put up a big advertisement poster saying that Metroid Prime 4 was out now. Nobody's really sure whether this was the mistake of the marketing team on London Underground, or whether it was a failure from Nintendo, from Metroid's marketing team. But nevertheless, that exists. I was actually at Oxford Street Station yesterday, but I didn't see it, so I'm not sure if they've already taken that down. But this sparked a lot of rumours that they were about to shadow drop Metroid Prime 4, which is incredible after they've been working on this game for like a decade. They'll suddenly then just shadow drop it. I don't think so, but I do think it's going to come fairly soon. I reckon probably September. Again, another game I'm looking forward to. Never played any of the others though. Loved Metroid Dread. That was a great game on the Nintendo Switch One. Really good game. Really solid game. So let's check out Metroid Prime 4 when that comes out. What else have people been talking about this week? The game key card situation again. It's key card, not cart. So obviously, as we all know, the game key card situation is a little bit complicated when it comes to Nintendo. So as well as having games where all of the data is on the key card, they've also introduced a new system now where they have game key cards, where essentially it's a blank key card with nothing else on it apart from an automatic program to download the game. So none of the game is actually on the key card. It just prompts something on your Switch to download it from the eShop or whatever. There's been a lot of controversy about this because obviously a lot of people see this as Nintendo trying to rush us into an all digital era. I think this is better than just having the blank code which you put in to download, which is in a box, because at least with the key card, of course, you can still trade this in at CEX or any other shop or sell it on eBay, so there is resellability there. So that is certainly a positive to this. One of the things that I've read about this week though is that they're worried that Nintendo's cartridges only come now in the size of 64 gigabytes or essentially empty, or 1 megabyte, or whatever it needs, however big it needs to be a key card to just download the game. So that a lot of publishers now are either going to have to pay a lot of money, potentially, $10-20 to have the full 64 gigabyte cart, or they're going to opt for the game key card version. And obviously, why would they eat into their profits if they didn't have to? Obviously, some games like Cyberpunk really needed the 64 gigabytes, whereas other games like, Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a bad example because obviously it's a first party title, but, that's probably only going to use, 10 gigabytes, if that. So there's going to be a lot of publishers out there who don't want to spend extra on this big cart because that's just going to eat into their profits, and they don't need to do that if they can just use the game key card. I hope Nintendo reconsider. I hope this is just a rumor and this isn't true, because if it is, then you're going to get heaps of developers therefore just doing the game key cards, and that's going to be a bad situation. That's going to set a really bad precedent. I know we have to go digital at some point, but I really do hate it. I like to have something physical. I like to be able to buy physical games secondhand sometimes as well. And I think I really want to support the secondhand gaming industry, shops like CEX and stuff like that. I love, and I'd love for us in the years to come to still be able to partake in that sort of fun. So I hope, if this is true, I hope Nintendo reconsider it, because for all the reasons that I've just said, I don't like it. I think it's, in some respects, it's pro-consumer because the game key cards can still be obviously traded, but it's just, I feel like this is Nintendo's way of trying to hurry up to the all digital generation, because I still feel like we're what, a generation or two maybe off from us going completely digital, and I think this is them trying to hurry things up a little bit. I just hope we don't end up in a situation where most third party developers now just opt for the game key cards rather than putting the entirety of the game on the cartridge. But we'll see what happens in the years to come. Right, I think that's enough about Nintendo. Actually, I forgot to talk about the night of the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, because that might be quite interesting to preserve for future generations, like anybody really cares. So the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 a couple of weeks ago. So my fiance MK and I decided to go to the midnight launch here in London at a Smith's toy store in Barnet. If you're at that midnight launch, let me know in the comments down below. Particularly because I'm interested in what I'm about to say as well. So firstly, we got there and I was so surprised. It was over 50 people. I think I counted it as we got into it at 50, and there was a few people after us as well. So 50, 60, 70 people. We were queuing for absolutely ages. Firstly, it was freezing cold, even though that was only 2 weeks ago, and it's absolutely boiling hot, and it's 1,000,000 degrees here in the UK at the moment. 2 weeks ago, it was freezing cold on that night anyway. So we were wrapping ourselves up. It looked like winter, from a certain point of view. We were shivering. We got there probably about 10 minutes before midnight, and we were expecting nobody, and obviously it was this big queue. And then it got to midnight, and then the queue basically just didn't move. We were in it for, I think, over an hour before we actually got in and got the device. So I don't understand why it was moving so slowly. Because once we got in, everything seemed to move quite quickly. So who knows? Maybe there were a bunch of people that didn't pre-order and wanted to see if they could pick one up on the day or on the night, and then were looking at different games to buy. Who knows? I'm not sure. But anyway, we were queuing up for about an hour. Finally got in. The staff there were really nice and enthusiastic. There was warning signs about the screen protector that seems to be part of the Switch 2, warning people not to try and pull this off, which is quite funny. We got the Switch and went by to McDonald's on the way home, and all went well. I was absolutely knackered though, because the next day I had to get up at 5:30 for work, and so at this point it was like 2 a.m. So it was absolutely knackering experience. So I didn't actually do the unboxing until I got back home later that night. And so a few weeks later, obviously 2 weeks later, something comes in the post. Right, I get a very important letter in the post that I should not ignore, not a circular as it said printed on there, and it turns out that we've got a parking ticket, a parking fine from parking at this toy store on this commercial trading estate at 1 a.m. Presumably they put on these restrictions to stop young people going there and hanging out at night time and taking drugs and whatever. So anyway, getting a Nintendo Switch 2 has fined me. I've sent in an appeal. Fortunately, because I recorded that, I could show them. Look, we were there for the launch of the Switch 2. We were legitimate customers. We weren't there to just take drugs or whatever. So it was hopefully, I've not heard back from them yet, but hopefully the appeal works out. But the funny thing is, there was 50 other cars there for this. So did everybody receive a fine that night for going and collecting a Nintendo Switch 2 at the midnight launch? So if you went to that midnight launch in Free Barnet and you got a fine, do let me know. Let me know if you've appealed and how it's gone for you as well. Right, that is it. I talked for over half an hour now just about the Nintendo Switch 2. I could go on, but I'm going to stop because it's probably very boring. So what else has happened this week? What else is going on in the gaming world at the moment? Xbox Showcase. We had the Xbox. It's weird that we got an Xbox Showcase and the PlayStation State of Play on the same week as the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. I would have probably have left that, but I appreciate not everybody's a Nintendo fan, so I don't know. Anyway, the Xbox Showcase. I don't think there's much to talk about when it comes to the games. from the Xbox showcase. I'm literally picking up my phone right now to see what was revealed. There's one thing that I really want to talk about. Oh, okay, Final Fantasy 16 is going to come to Xbox Series X and S. Let's see how that plays on S. There's also a rumor that Final Fantasy 16 is going to come to the Switch 2 as well, but I promised I wouldn't talk about Switch 2 anymore. High on Life 2. High on Life I never played. It looked quite fun actually if you like took it for what it is, as a kind of tongue-in-cheek like game. And it was free on PS Plus recently. I downloaded it but then never played it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. I think we already knew that was coming. There's not really much else. I'm scrolling through the list. There's nothing really of note from the Xbox showcase, of course, except for the big news that Xbox are releasing a gaming device, handheld gaming device soon, the Xbox ROG Ally and ROG Ally X. So, my thoughts on this. Why? It's supposed to be coming out later this year for the holiday season. What I just don't get it. Maybe it's because I don't play in that sort of PC handheld gaming space yet. I as I've mentioned before, I've been very close to getting a Steam Deck. I'm sure I'll probably get some iteration of a Steam Deck in the future because I love handheld gaming. I just don't get Xbox's thought processes by this. They should absolutely release a gaming handheld. But why didn't they do it A, sooner, and B, why isn't it a full-on Xbox device? Why is it a ROG Ally? If they had released last year, 12 months ago, a standalone Xbox handheld that basically just had Game Pass on it, or could play Xbox games, and that's it, I would have purchased that. I know there's not many good Xbox exclusives at the moment, but there's still plenty of games on Xbox, particularly Games Pass, that make it worthwhile. And I don't get why they're now diluting the brands by releasing this handheld console with ROG Ally, just so that obviously you can get Steam on it and things that you can't get if it was just an Xbox console. But you could then just use one of the other gaming handhelds. You wouldn't need the Xbox one, right? So I just don't get it. I feel like they should have just doubled down on their own brand and have just released an Xbox one, because I probably would have bought that 12 months ago, or even now really, so I could sit in bed and play Halo and Forza and stuff like that. Is there something I'm missing? I'm not, as I say, I don't play in this space, but I do feel like there's something I'm missing here. So do let me know if I'm just being an idiot and I'm not understanding how gaming PCs work, gaming PC handhelds work. So that's my 2 penneth on the Xbox handheld. The PlayStation State of Play seemed like there was a little bit more to this. One of the games that I really thought was fun was Baby Steps. So it looked like this is a game where you have to learn how to walk. So there's really unique traversal mechanics for the protagonist. I think this is something that's come about following the release of Death Stranding, absolutely, which kind of made walking such a fun, enjoyable mechanic. And this new game, Baby Steps, seems to be going down that alley. Obviously, it's a completely different genre of a game, but it seems so unique and enjoyable. And this is the kind of thing that I like to see in these sort of showcases. I don't like to see just the usual boring, bland games. Something that's a little bit more different and unique, and I really appreciate that. So what else? We had Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. This looks awful. This looks like a Wii game. This literally looks like a Wii game. Why are PlayStation doing this? Final Fantasy Tactics. Loved Final Fantasy. I love the Final Fantasy series as a whole, but I've never played Final Fantasy Tactics, but this remake looks good. Does it look good? The Evilist Chronicles? I'm not even sure. I played one of the Tactics games. I think it was on the PSP. Or was it on the DS? I can't remember. It was set in, I think, the Final Fantasy 12 universe, which I think is what Tactics is. But I never played the original, and I probably won't play this remake. Obviously, we've got another update on Ghost of Yotei, which I will be playing later in the year. 007 First Light. So this isn't going to be exclusive to the PlayStation. It's also coming out on the Nintendo Switch as well. This game looks fantastic. I'm really, really excited about this game because I'm going to take it for what it is. It doesn't seem like it's the most super serious 007 game. It seems a little bit tongue-in-cheek, a little bit Uncharted. It reminds me very much of Uncharted. And obviously this was developed by the same people that developed Hitman as well, which obviously had some great mechanics. And it just looks like something that could be like a 12, 14, 16 hour just like single player narrative romp of a time. Like, it just looks so fun. I doubt this is going to be a 10 out of 10 game, but this is going to be an absolute 8 out of 10 banger. I can feel it, and it does remind me of, as I say, Uncharted. So I'm really looking forward to playing this game, actually. Again, take it for what it is. It's not going to be a super serious game where it's going to try and push the boundaries. It's not going to look the best. It's not going to play the best, but it's just going to be fun, which I think we are missing a lot of that in the gaming industry at the moment. So I can't wait to play this. The question is, am I going to play it on PlayStation or am I going to play it on the Nintendo Switch? I don't think this is going to be a day one purchase for me, so I'll probably wait to see what the reviews are, and then if it runs well on the Switch, then I'll get on the Switch. Because why wouldn't I? So I can play it in bed. We saw another update from Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, of course. I feel like we've seen so much about this game so far, and I think when it finally comes out next month, I think we're all just going to be a little bit like underwhelmed. Well, not underwhelmed, maybe just like whelmed. It will just be like, yeah, that was MGS3, which is a fantastic game, and it's just now just runs better and has got better graphics. So we'll see. Again, it won't be a day one purchase for me, maybe, but I'm definitely going to play this. Definitely playing this in August, September, because the Metal Gear Solid franchise is one of my favorites. So why wouldn't I? And I do hope this kind of like re-sparks interest in MGS. But again, it's kind of bittersweet because obviously it's not attached to Hideo Kojima anymore. So we'll see. We'll give it a shot. Which have Neo 3 announcement trailer. Never been a fan, but I know people are really interested in that. And then, of course, we have got Death Stranding 2 coming up very soon as well. I don't think that was actually shown off in the state of play for Sony, but obviously that is coming out, I believe, as of recording in 2 days' time. I think it's the 24th of June. It's Sunday the 22nd of June right now, so I think that's coming out on the 24th of June. Really looking forward to that game. I'm not going to be playing that on day one, I don't think, but probably week one maybe. I don't want to put down my, sorry to mention again, I don't really want to put down my Switch so far. I feel like I just need to have it with me at all times where possible, because it's the new and shiny thing, and I don't really want to leave it to go back and play my old dusty PlayStation 5. Can you believe that I'm saying that? 2 years ago I'd be saying, what the hell are you talking about? So Death Stranding 2, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Death Stranding 2, aren't I? Yes, so I'll probably buy it on week one or week two. I do want to start playing that as soon as possible, but it won't be a day one purchase for me. I really enjoyed Death Stranding 1. It was challenging. I don't understand. Firstly, I love Hideo Kojima. I've got his book by my bed right now, the Creative Gene. I love the guy. I love MGS. Death Stranding 2 was fun. I enjoyed it, but I didn't get my head around it. I'd be lying if I said I fully understood it. And even though I love a long cutscene, those ending cutscenes were just like, huh? And I can't remember anything that happened in that game. It's been years now. I'm going to have to watch a recap. I don't think any recap will help, but I'll try. I do really like the world, and I really like the concept. I don't understand how people find it relaxing, though. A lot of people say, they love to just boot up Death Stranding 2 and go and deliver some packages. I feel like every time I try to deliver anything in Death Stranding I'd just get attacked by BTs. And that would be incredibly stressful for me. And I know once you get into the game a little bit more, you find out ways of dealing with the with the BTs, relatively easily. But it's still a very stressful situation when they come and attack you. I also didn't set up any of the zip lines last time, which I think then made it a lot harder for me to play. So this time round, I think if possible, I'm going to be setting up those zip lines. Saying that though, I have a theory about this game. I do not think that this game is going to be what we think it is. I don't think it's going to be a bog standard Death Stranding sequel. I think Kojima is going to be pulling an MGS2 on us. I reckon we're going to start playing as Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus. I'm combining his character name there, Sam Bridges, and the actor's name, Norman Reedus, aren't I? Norman Reedus as Sam Bridges. I think we're going to be playing as him for the first quarter or third of the game, and then it's going to switch, and we're going to be playing as that guy who looks like Solid Snake, who we saw in one of the trailers, and then I think it's going to be more like espionage action for most of the game, and he's going to pull a blinder on us, and that's exactly what I'd expect from Kojima. So that is my theory of what's going to happen. The annoying thing is you can't really. This isn't 2002 or whenever that game came out. You can't really get away with that now. You have to. Everybody will see that happening on Reddit. I won't be able to avoid that, or Twitter. I'm not going to be able to avoid that if I leave it a week or two before playing, am I? So that's going to be a little bit frustrating if that is the case. Of course, you could do that back in the day, and I don't think I played MGS2 on the launch week when that first came out. I would have played that probably weeks and months later. I probably would have picked it up for a birthday present or something like that. So, and I still would have been. I was still obviously completely surprised once I found out I was playing as Raiden for most of the game. So whilst I think it would be great, and my prediction is that there's going to be a twist like that in the game, it is a little bit disappointing that if that does happen, that we will find out about it before we can even play it. But let's wait and see, I guess. I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. I'm also looking forward to his next projects. He's OD for Xbox, and then Fizzant, which is supposed to be like a spiritual successor to MGS. So obviously I'm more looking forward to that one. We'll just have to wait and see. What else? There was the Summer Games Fest this week as well. Was anything 2 weeks ago? Was anything announced for that? Obviously, oh yes, of course. The new Resident Evil. We're going back to Raccoon City. That's going to be fun. I've kind of fallen off Resident Evil. I played 2, 3, and 4 back in the day. I don't think I've played any since then. Well, I'd like to. Where should I start? Do you think I should start back on... Do you think I should go play the number 2 and 3 remake, and then 4 remake, and then go to 7 or 8? I don't know. Let me know if you have any advice for that. I really would like to get back into that and those games. I don't think there was anything else to show at Summer Games Fest. Oh, that's where they shaved off Death Stranding 2. And then this week as well, we've had, I think it was yesterday actually, weirdly on a Saturday afternoon, or at least it was a Saturday afternoon here in the UK, we had a gameplay trailer released for Dawn of... God, I keep getting the name wrong of this game, don't I? Dawn of... The Blood of Dawnwalker. So this is the game I talked about, I think in the first ever podcast, where I said about I was looking forward to this game this year. It's a single-player narrative open world game from some of the developers from, I think, CD Projekt Red and the Witcher series, where you play as a chap who at nighttime is a vampire. So I think it's half vampire. So at nighttime you gain all the abilities of the vampire, but you also gain the weaknesses of the vampire. And so it's pretty cool. So there'll be places where you go to in the day and you can't access stuff because you need to come back at night and use your vampire abilities. So that looks pretty cool. They released a gameplay reveal trailer and presentation yesterday. Looks pretty interesting. Apparently the blood drinking mechanic has a morality system baked into it, which is pretty fun. The combat itself did look a little bit slow, for my opinion, but that may be because it's quite layered. Maybe, I mean, they did show us, him throwing some magic dust on people and then a little bit later in the battle, the character then could use magic on him because they threw the dust on him. So it may just be a little bit more layered and considerate, which is why it looks slow rather than just a hack and slash. But still, I would have thought that a vampire style game would rely on, you know, speed and agility and would be quite fast paced. But I don't know. I think I'm kind of wanting the best of all worlds there, aren't I? I think I'm being a bit too picky. But if I'm honest, I was never a fan of the combat in The Witcher 3, to be honest. I always found that was a bit slow and clunky, to be honest. But anyway, this game does look great, and I don't think we've got a release date for it yet. I assume it's coming out at some point this year. This year is just so packed. Absolutely packed. Where am I going to fit that in? And of course, what we haven't talked about as well is going back to Nintendo. Sorry, I'm going to do it again. I'm talking about Nintendo again. This isn't a Nintendo podcast, but I'm going to focus on a lot of Nintendo recently, aren't I? Because of the release of the Switch 2. But I do think we're going to get some more big releases from Nintendo, release some big announcements from Nintendo later this year. There's got to be an announcement on a 3D Mario, surely. Isn't it the 40th anniversary of Mario this year as well? So there's definitely going to be something on that. Obviously, we get Metroid Dread, Metroid Prime 4. There's also the new Pokemon game coming out this year as well. So I expect there to be a new Mario game maybe at the start of next year at some point, if not before Christmas, because presumably the big holiday games are going to be like Metroid Prime 4 and the new Pokemon game. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. There's also been rumors as well that there's going to be a reveal of the new Animal Crossing for next year as well at some point as well. And there's another big third party title as well. I think apparently is going to be revealed soon. I can't remember off the top of my head. Go to another YouTuber, another podcaster for that. Clearly, I'm not well informed. As I say, I'm doing this today without any notes, just freestyling because I just wanted to get some of this stuff off of my chest. I do hope there's going to be more third-party titles come out for the Switch 2. This is it. This is what we've all been waiting for now, is for me to be able to sit in bed and switch between Mario and Zelda and Elden Ring and Cyberpunk. This is what we've been waiting for, and I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about today. So I'm playing at the moment, of course, a lot of Mario Kart and a little bit of Cyberpunk. I've also not finished Expedition 33 yet. I'm hoping that after I finish recording this podcast and have cleaned up my house a little bit and cooled down a little bit, that I might be able to finish Expedition 33 today. I think I'm like in the mid 70s. My level is. I think and I'm obviously in Act 3. I'm worried that if I go straight to the final boss now, I'm going to absolutely obliterate him. Or maybe the opposite. I don't know. In my head, I had somewhere between levels 70 and 80. I still don't feel like I'm super powerful, even though I'm getting better at the game. So maybe I am. Maybe I'm just being an idiot. So hopefully after the recording of this podcast, the next time we speak, I will have finished Expedition 33. It doesn't even matter if I finish it in some respects, because to me, it's already Game of the Year. It's just fantastic. I don't want to rush it. I feel like I can go away from this game for a week or two and come back to it and I can still play it. I still understand the mechanics, which is quite rare for a game. And it's just, oh God, I've got to do a review on it because I love it. It's my Game of the Year. It's such a fantastic game. I love pretty much everything about it, even though I'm crap at the parrying. And yeah, just play this game. If you haven't played it already, just play it. It is incredible. I think it is a 10 out of 10 game. I don't like giving 10 out of 10s very often because I feel like in my mind, partly a 10 out of 10 is partly perfect, but with the understanding that it doesn't have to be. But this game is 10 out of 10 for sure. Anyway, I think that's basically all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for listening. Do let me know in the comments down below what you've been playing at the moment and any recommendations for me to play as well. A big welcome again to all of the new listeners who have been with us who have joined us recently following the new YouTube content and TikTok content. It's great to have you on board. Stick around and let's play some games together. As I say, my Nintendo Switch friend code will be down in the description, so if you are over 18, feel free to add me on that, and I'll see you all very soon. Hope you're keeping cool.